just for a minute. Close your eyes for a second.
And the case between Angel and Wendy versus Kiana and Wendy, it's like the enemy of my friend is my enemy. Now, I do not know how far Kiana and Angel's plan to take down Wendy is going to go, although Wendy has successfully done that by herself with this particular alleged malfeasance with insurance fraud. Now, but I would say this. It looks made up. It looks very rehearsed. There's a few little minions that is igniting the flame. Is it gaining traction? Yes. How far they're going to carry this on for? I'm here to watch and see how this goes. But I will say this. Wendy is holding no prisoners. She is giving them a run for their money. But before I get to the talking point of episode 4, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and share the channel with your friends. Comment, like. Let's get the conversations going. With that said, let's hit up all that happened in episode 4. As you all know, episode 4 is the continuation of Preakness. They had the pre-Preakness game over at Kiana's and extended onto the racetrack where Wendy hosted the ladies as per her invite from the first lady, who we didn't really get to see. Now, I might say this particular part was edited, given all of the breaking stories that's surrounding Wendy and her family. Now, no high-profile celebrity or high-profile political person will want to be hanging out around Wendy at this time, because whatever is going on looks, pretty serious, or we do not know the magnitude of or how long this is going to go for. And so I feel like that particular part where we didn't get to see the first lady on camera was edited, and I'm going to get into all of that. I am really getting ahead of myself. I want to say this though. I have noticed that Wendy is seemingly very, very close to Giselle this season. I have noticed even with the sitting arrangements, you can literally see Wendy side by side with Giselle. I don't know. It's giving clinging for dear life. It's not giving wholesome friendship, okay? It's giving, I have to cling onto this chick for dear life because she needs to like me. That's what it's giving. It's making Wendy look very very uncomfortable, very not strong to stand on her own 2 feet. I can understand the history between these two ladies and how it kind of blossomed in the last season. But for the fact that Wendy is literally up Giselle's ass is giving me weird vibes. But anyway, the conversation in the at the dinner table at Kiana's house extended onto the car ride to the racetrack, where Stacy and Kiana had a head-on collision. Now, that didn't really end well because Stacy had to, laugh at Kiana's unfortunate physical assault injury that happened 2 seasons before. And so I think with that particular extension of aggression and chaos, the mood in the drive to the racetrack was just sort of awkward. They did end the conversation in a not so friendly manner. They arrived at the racetrack. It was still the same back and forth situation I did over here. Giselle and Wendy sort of plotting Angela's takedown. Apparently, Angela didn't graduate from the school she said she went to. And we're going to obviously get to know more about that. But one thing I can see is that the energy between Wendy and Angela has completely shifted. If there was ever an energy, this particular energy is shooting negativity all the way. All in thanks to the fact that Kiana has sort of prepped up her best friend to join in the takedown of her arch enemy Wendy. How this is gonna go remains to be seen. Now, whilst they were trying to figure out who was gonna be betting for the horses, or who, mind you, it is horse day today. I'm not sure what horse won. I don't do this, but anyway, it's sort of coincidental that I'm actually running my commentary on a Tuesday, Melbourne Cup Day. Anyway, back to my story. It got to a point where the girls were seated and Jazzy, walked in. With all the other girls, with the exception of Kiana, giving her a very low vibrational welcome. And very quickly, Wags, I was like, what in the hell? What in the basketball hell is going on here? Where are the wives? Are the Wags now having a reunion show on the Potomac stage? I don't know. But anyway, very quickly, you could sense that Angela was a bit uncomfortable with Jazzy's presence. Now, Jazzy, we all know, is about to get married to Darius, who is a football player. I do not know this sport in America. I know basketball. That's as far as I know it. Okay, nothing else. Anyway, I think there were pockets of conversations that happened behind the scene, because whilst the ladies went to the racetrack, it was very, very noticeable the vibes between Kiana and Jazzy. And of course, bone collector Ashley, between Ashley and Wendy being the bone collector this season, trying to hold people accountable. It's chaos and funny as hell. One thing I can say is it is getting the women talking. We're getting to know some behind the scenes stories. Now, when Wendy, when Ashley kind of picked Kiana to find out why Kiana is having such a low vibrational energy towards Jazzy, it soon became aware that there is an underlining or understatement, something happened behind the scenes between Jazzy, Wendy, or between Kiana and Jazzy. It's all convoluted, okay? Now, whilst the conversation started, it was quickly interrupted because the first lady was coming, walking towards the ladies, and Wendy rushed to quickly say hello. Like I said, this particular part wasn't really caught on camera because the first lady didn't want to appear on camera. Why this is, I do not know. I do feel it was edited. It was edited. I have a vibe that it was edited. Anyway, we'll go back to the story, and I think for some reason Jazzy and Wendy had a phone conversation. Wendy sort of relayed the phone conversation, and this is the problem with Chinese whispers, guys. Chinese whispers, it's always the cause of all aggros between women, because when someone hears something and it gets relayed, it is not relayed in the same vibrational emotiveness that it was said. It is given in the context of the receivers. And so when the intended recipients gets to hear it not from the original source, it becomes a little bit coated in anger, and that is not a good thing. Well, exactly what happened, because when Wendy relayed this particular conversation back to Kiana thought there was more to the tale, when in fact it was Wendy's perception that she relayed to Kiana. And I think Jazzy tried to, I don't know if it was a de-escalation tactics, because it did not work. Because in the sense of, please calm down, I know there's a lot going on between you and Greg. That just ignited Kiana's fire, because very quickly it descended into chaos where they each started throwing shades at each other's man. Okay, Darius, has 2 kids from previous relationship. Whilst in the relationship she was with Jazzy, we don't know all the details, but Kiana does, because Kiana threw a few shades back at Jazzy. I could not deal or tolerate or manage what they were saying, because they were at each other's throat. But let's just say they were able to move on from that particular chaos to prepare themselves for the island vacation that Giselle had planned. Now, this is the first girls trip for the 2 newbies, Angel and Tia. Now, we did not know exactly how much of this was going to happen, but we did hear behind the scenes that Kiana did not want Jazzy invited to this trip, and Angel tagged along in saying, can you bring Cherise instead? Why? We got to find out a little bit more during the trip. So the girls all got on the plane heading straight to Nevis. Nevis, it's a very tiny island, a beautiful island, in the Caribbean. They arrived and they all go, I think they got on a plane, arrived, and they were going to get on a yacht to their location, right? And also on this, but prior to the boat ride, I don't think Angel reads itinerary restrictions and all of the regulations of the countries you're going to. These are the things you have to know. Apparently, Nevis is a country that does not allow camouflage anything to be taken into the country. I do not know if Angel read that or decided to ignore the rules and take on a camouflage bag, because she was actually stopped. Thanks to Tia, who had an empty suitcase. Why she had or half full suitcase is beyond me. I guess she had to have that empty suitcase because she's going to be doing a lot more shopping and bringing it back to the United States. I'll leave it at that. Now, just like my country, Nigeria, my home country, Nigeria, camouflage is mainly a military uniform, and so it is against ethics for you as an individual, a civilian, to have a camouflage outfit. Like, you're not allowed to wear it. If you wear it and you are caught by a military person, you can get beaten in public and literally stripped of those outfits. Good luck how you're gonna get home exposed. So is that one of the things that you have to do? It's not because we're just throwing shade towards Angel's way, because she was really silly to have made such a big mistake, huge mistake, and knowing that's going to be televised. So you have a common decorum to respect every country you're about to get into. There are rules. Basic 101. Well, might say, okay, she probably hasn't really left the United States since she was born, so who knows? That could play a factor. Or her just being American. Obnoxious. Excuse me. I take it back. Not really. But anyway, yeah, you know what I mean. And so while she got the help, they all got on the yacht and headed on straight to their destination. But before they got there, it became quite evident that Angel, Wendy, and the rest of the girls were not going to be seeing eye to eye in this particular trip. No sooner than all of this happened did the conversation ensued as to why Kiana didn't really want Jazzy to be present, when in fact Giselle has decided to tag this particular vacation as an honor to Jazzy about to get married. So this is her last girls trip prior to getting married. So you didn't want the hosts to be present. Like, the reason we were going for the trip is this chick, and you didn't want her there. And so it became very obvious that, according to Jazzy, Kiana had told her something prior that was quite disparaging to Wendy, or about Wendy to her. And whilst it's not clear what was said, because Jazzy wanted to keep this one to her chest, it wasn't clear. It became a back and forth between Jazzy, Kiana, Wendy, wanting to find out the timeline, because that would give her a little bit more clarity as to why Kiana is all of a sudden guns blazing towards her. Apparently this whole thing happened, or conversation happened, 6 months ago, and then there was the conversation between Wendy and Jazzy a few months or weeks after that particular conversation. So there's a lot of things that we do not know, and again, they all happen behind the scenes. Whilst we're trying to make it make sense on screen, it is quite difficult if they're not exactly going straight to the point and hitting the nail right on the head. But again, they both had it was so hard to get to the bottom of the whole conversation because they were at each other's throats. Safe to say, we don't know what was said. We do not know how we're going to resolve this because we don't exactly know what was said. We do know that when the girls got to their final destination, we overheard Ashley and Giselle plotting again to have a conversation with regards to Angel's Photoshop photos that makes her looks different from who she is in person. And so that's another drama on its own. But did it happen the way we think? Yeah, we'll see. And so just before this particular episode ended, the girls got their rooms designated. This time it was a bit civilized because usually there is oftentimes chaos regards to what room and who gets what room. Now, we did see that Angel and her best friend Kiana were going to be in one room. Tia was getting the nanny quarter. Giselle and Ashley were going to be rooming together, leaving Wendy, Jazzy, and Stacy to do the rest. Now, these girls were so happy with the choice of roommates and how the rooms were divided. All the villa looked the same, beautiful. But very quickly, we've realized that Giselle is not a fan of Stacy because everyone had a robe embroidered with their initials, had a bathrobe bag embroidered with their initials, as well as a personalized note to welcome them on this trip, with the only exception being Stacy, who did not have a note, or rather she had a card, but nothing written on it. Her robe was a different size to what she looks like, and the bathroom bag had nothing to it. Was literally like, oh my god, I do not like you. That was what it was giving. Now, poor Stacy took it on her chin. You gotta just respect this lady because they have been coming for her since this particular season kicked off, and she is giving it back. Fire for fire. I love Stacy here. Now, Stacy is the one girl that I would really I was loving to hate, but it seems as if I actually need her quirk to get through each episode. Now, this particular trip has led to the first dinner in the island, and they all gathered, and very quickly, of course, when there's a dinner, there's often scores to settle. Okay, they all gathered, and very quickly they needed to try and resolve a few things. Now, we got to find out that Angel and Kiana really do not like Wendy. There was a question that was asked in the group to find out if Angel, Kiana, and Wendy were good. And I think, according to Angel, she's been ignored the entire trip to the islands. Now, in retrospect, she did get hugs. Now, I'm not sure what Wendy or what Angel wants. Angel wants to be babysitted the entire time. Angel wants a pink carpet treatment the entire time. Now, how she's going to get that, being a newbie, is a whole other story. You're not showing enough of yourself. You are coming with preconceived notions about some of the ladies because your bestie has prepared you to wage war with her. Now, so having the enemy of my best friend as my enemy, it's already, you're 5 steps behind, because how are you going to get to know these ladies if you're already coming in with preconceived notions and the idea that this person, I might not like her given what has happened between her and my friend? It's not going to work. And once that conversation was had, it was quite clear that Angel wasn't really feeling Wendy. And now Wendy is another person that was just clocking her on her BS, like telling her, the way you are responding to the other ladies is quite different from the way you're responding to me. I asked a simple question, you came at me. Now, Giselle is actually challenging you about your look. That is a big statement. And you are not even challenging her back. Because what? Why? And she did agree to say, yes, I'm having a different responses towards the other ladies and you. And it got to the point where they wanted to know what other has there been a preconceived notion that you've had about Wendy for you to be acting in this manner? To which she actually honestly said yes. She was told a few things prior to coming onto the show. So it is no surprise that Angela is not able to open up to the other ladies, or maybe try and open up to the other lady with the exception of Wendy. And when you have a preconceived notion about one, the energy is going to be varying amongst the other ladies, and they're going to call you out on it. Quite clear as day. Giselle challenged her about her filtering her photos. I would say this, the photos in question did look quite filtered. Angel is in denial that those photos were taken a little while back. Do you mean they were taken like 15 years back, Angel? Because those photos, they don't look like you. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with you photoshopping yourself on social media. Just admit it. Now, whilst that particular drama came from Giselle, we could see during her confessional, she was basically attacking Wendy, because Wendy has been honest enough to tell the lady she was going to get some work done post having 4 babies. I don't know, but Angel seemed like a very bitter, jealous woman, and her directions, or whoever she's I feel like she's deflecting and trying to create issues with Wendy when there shouldn't be any. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt to say her introduction into the group by her best friend is hindering her opening up. Maybe there is more layers to this woman, like Tia has got layers to her. I do not know. And then, of course, Ashley, the bone collector, decided to throw one at Stacey by saying that Stacey has got some interesting relationship besides her ex-current husband. We don't know. So this particular conversation is going to be revealed in more details in the next episode. But we do hear Stacey trying to call out Giselle for having a relationship that she isn't disclosing to the other ladies. But according to Giselle, she's dating this guy, as well as several others that she's dating. I mean, there's nothing set in stones just yet. And so the fact that she is not revealing is not a bad thing. I think I kind of agree with Giselle on this one. Maybe Stacey, you're overreaching with your suggestions. And I can understand, because you need something to hold against Giselle. That woman is on your neck. So it is fair to say you tried, it failed. Come up with something else. that's it, girls. I do not know what to make of this friendship group. Let's just say night one at Nevis is looking promising. There has been no bottle throwing. There's been a few shade thrown. I hope the conversations will be as matured as this. Whilst the dynamics is not as evenly spaced out as I would like it to be, it hasn't descended into chaos just yet. So there's more conversations to be had. There's more resolutions, if any, to, things have to be resolved. But I guess we're going to be getting to the bottom of Stacey's and Chris Samuel's, aka situationship. About Jazzy and Kiana, as well as Wendy and Angel. That is a dynamics that we are just going to be watching and see how it unfolds. Again, like I said, I cannot wait to hear from you what your takes are with regards to this whole episode. Come on the comment section and do what you do best. In the meantime, you are the Zevin. I will talk to you soon. Bye.